Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Defining Discipline podcast. I'm your host, Scott. Defining discipline is a lifestyle, a mentality, and a brand. And within this podcast, we're going to focus on self-improvement as you follow along with me on my journey. We're also going to hear from special guests of all walks of life on this podcast and their remarkable journeys that led them to where they are today. As you can tell, though, today is another solo episode. But before we get started in today's episode, let's do a quick update. Today is day 26. It's the 26th day of the year that I've ran. I ran 1.5 miles today. Did a little speed work, not too much. Didn't try to overexhaust myself too much. My left leg's actually starting to bother me a little bit. Not so much the muscle. I don't know what it is. It's just when I angle it a certain way, it shoots a pain up my leg. So I don't know if it's a tendon or maybe a nerve. But it's in my lower left leg. It's not too bad. I ran on it. Like I said, it doesn't hurt when I run necessarily or even walk, but just kind of when I angle it a certain way, it shoots a pain up. So I kept it short and sweet today. But that put me at 86.5 miles for the year and for the month. Quick reminder, I'm going for 365 days out of the year this year of running, and I'm also going for 1250 miles. Last year I hit 1,000. Last year was my first full year of actually running. I ran races before that, 5Ks once or twice throughout, the last maybe 6-7 years. I maybe ran a couple here and there just for fun, nothing really serious. I never got into it really until last year. So last year was my first year. I hit 1,000 miles, so I was really stoked about that. And I set these goals this year to hit 1250 and to run every day of the year. I think last year I ran 175 or 76 days out of the year. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting run. We'll see how it's going to go. I do have a 50K coming up with my buddy Joe. That is going to be in June, so I'm trying to stay on track of training for that, trying to push myself but not push myself too hard. I also am running the marathon again, the Detroit Marathon. Not again, I was supposed to run it last year, but it got canceled, so I deferred it for this year, and me and my buddy Joe just ran our own marathon last year together. That being said, like I said, I'm at 86.5 miles for the month and the year. But for the month of January, I joined the 100-mile challenge and started a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society, where you guys can donate, and it's on my Facebook. And all the donations that get made go directly to the fundraiser and to the American Cancer Society. None of it goes to Facebook, even though, Facebook's a third party, but they don't get any percentage of it, so it's really cool. You can know that if you donate, your money's going to go to a good cause. And I know everyone's kind of struggling right now, but, anything helps. $1, whatever you can give, that's awesome. Don't think that, I can't give this much, so I don't want to give it all. You're helping people that need it. That's the main thing. Doesn't matter how much you give, as long as you give. And if you can't give, it's all right too. If you can, just share it for other people that possibly can give. Let people know, hey, there's this is going on. If you can, donate some money. That's also awesome. Speaking of that, though, we first started the goal to be 200. We surpassed that. Then I switched to 300. We've surpassed that. Now we're stuck at 320. We've been stuck at 320 for a couple days now. The new goal is 400 though, so hopefully we can hit that, guys. Like I said, if you can, donate. If you can't, no big deal. That being said, let's kind of just roll into today's episode. Today is day 26, episode 26. If you've been following along, you'll know that not all episodes, but some episodes I try to play off the number of the episode. Since today is day 26, and this is not necessarily only a running podcast, but it's kind of based off my running, and I just kind of talked about it. We are going to have a interesting theme today. So today's theme for episode 26 is going to be marathon. Now, before I kind of break down into my experience with a marathon, if I only did one, and it was, like I said, one that me and my buddy Joe just kind of ran by ourselves. Before I get into that, let's kind of just talk about the history of the marathon, how it became, where it became and how it became. So the marathon was actually inspired by the legend of an ancient Greek messenger, Pheidippides, and the legend is that he raced from the site of Marathon to Athens with the news of a Greek victory over the invading army of Persians. And this was roughly in 490 BC, so this is a long time ago. And the distance between Marathon and Athens is actually 25 miles. So keep that in mind. But the rumor actually has it that after arriving and shouting Nike, Nike, which actually means victory, that's where Nike got their name from, the messenger actually collapsed and died from exhaustion. So Pheidippides didn't survive that. I mean, he made it there to let everyone know what was going on, but he died from exhaustion from running that. So then for a couple years at the Olympics, that was the standard. It was 25 miles for a marathon. And you kind of might be wondering, well, where the heck does the extra 1.2 miles come from? Like, where does it get tacked on to make the 26.2 and what we now know as a marathon? Well, that actually happened during the 1908 Olympic Games in London, and it doesn't seem like it should be real, but it was a different time, and this is what the rumor also has. It was because that Queen Alexandria requested that the race actually would start on the lawn of Windsor Castle so that her littlest royals could watch the start of the race from the window of their nursery. So when I first heard this, I'm thinking these littles probably weren't watching anything if they're in a nursery, but that's besides the point. That's where the extra mileage actually came from, was she had it moved back to start on the castle lawn, and that added the extra 1.2 miles, and then from there on out in the Olympics, it became the standard. So the 26.2 right there, that's where it kind of came from. Now, to talk my experience with the marathon, it was definitely an interesting one. We decided to run in a park that kind of just goes, you can go, it's just a one road that goes pretty far, a long way. We actually ran 13 miles just one way on this road, and then hit the 13.1 mile mark and just turned around and went back. My takes from it was hard as hell. I wasn't actually able to finish until I think I finished at 5 hours and 30 minutes, and my buddy Joe, he actually finished in 5 hours, but he also waited up for me a lot because I was very unprepared for it. I made it almost all the way to the halfway point and a little bit farther past it, but that's when my body was just kind of like, yeah, you're toast. Your legs are toast. And what also happened is I never really prepared for that long of a run, and I didn't have the right fueling down. I think that was my biggest mistake. Is I had some gels I was taking to give my body the fuel I needed and to carb up, but I never really tested them out through my training, so it was kind of just like trial by fire right then and there, and I think I overdid it. At one point, I got really nauseous and really sick, and I was drinking lots of like Pedialyte and stuff to, keep me hydrated and to replenish my electrolytes. But I think I almost overdid it because at one point, like I felt really nauseous, and I think I was like almost 19 miles in when this happened, and I had to sit down for a second and just chug a whole bunch of waters, and then it kind of just like all of that nauseousness went away, and I was able to push out the last 7 miles without really stopping. Like I would have to slow down and kind of just walk a little bit, but I was able to just keep moving and not have to like actually just stop and rest and drink for a second. So that also happened. Like I said, I kind of went in it unprepared. I trained all summer for it. I knew it was going to get canceled, and then something actually happened. My dog got sick, and some other things happened where I kind of fell off my training, and I just couldn't get back into the groove. And in my head, I told myself, whatever, I'll be fine. And I did make it. I made it, but I wasn't prepared, and that's something I'm really trying to focus on and stay focused on for this 50K I'm going to be running, and for the marathon also later on in this year. I want to really pick up my time for the marathon especially, and I want to be prepared for it. Another thing I did kind of notice, I think I talked about this in a couple episodes ago when I actually ran with Joe out in the trail, is Joe's I'm not a lot taller than me, but he's taller than me by a substantial amount. And his legs are a little bit longer than me. I'm assuming his stride is just a little bit bigger, and he's going to be running faster automatically. And when we did the marathon, I know when we started, I was trying to pay attention. I even started at a faster pace than I normally just run in general. So I kind of really I used most of my energy just trying to keep up with him for most of the race, I think. And that kind of wore me down. And I'm not blaming him at all or anything. It's just the fact that, when we actually go to do the marathon, we might stick together at first, but I got to make sure I stay on my pace. That race, it was kind of all on him. Like we raced where, he knew and was comfortable with, like he knew where we were kind of going, so I had to follow him. I didn't really know where to go, so that's kind of how I held him up, and he also kind of rushed me a little bit, so it kind of worked like that. But I think when we actually do the marathon, I'll be able to go at my own pace, he'll be able to go at his own pace. I could just try to keep the nice sustainable pace where I don't have to, where I'm not going too fast and burn all my energy out. So that's one thing I'm trying to keep in mind and keep at. Other than that, like I said, the fueling is going to be, very important. That's something I'm going to have to work on throughout these couple months, because in June's not that far away. That's 50K. That's 30 miles, 30.1 miles, 31 miles, I think. So it's no joke. It's a lot of miles, and I got to be able to know when I'm going to have to fuel. So what I think I'm going to do, last time I did it based off of hours. I tried to, I'm this many miles in, and an hour in, I'm going to, I got to hit this. Or I'm 30 minutes in, I'm this many miles in, I'm going to put this much in my body. That's what I kind of did last time, and I think I overdid it. I think this time instead of just paying attention to my mileage, I do need to keep that in mind, but I think I also need to pay attention to maybe calories burned. I need to just pay attention to how I feel physically. I do remember the marathon, my knee started I was having lots of knee problems back then when I was training, and my knee started to flare up a little early, and I actually had powdered Tylenol, and I pounded a couple of those throughout the race too, because my knee started flaring up pretty early. So I want to make sure I don't rely on that kind of stuff. Recently when I've been racing, and just not racing, but just running in general, I haven't used any medicine. I haven't really went back to my knee braces. My knees have been, thank God, have been great. I haven't had any problems. I haven't been stretching too much, but I have been stretching after, the big runs, trying to loosen up. So that's just stuff I have to keep in mind for my marathon coming up. And the 50K is my fueling, my pace, and basically my time, because this is a race and I want to pick up my time. And my ultimate goal is to pick it up each year. This year is a 50K and a marathon. I plan on running a couple marathons per year after this, and then I also plan on trying to step up my mileage to maybe a 50 miler, then eventually a 100 miler. I have a few 100 milers in mind that I would personally like to be a part of, but they're hard to get into, and one, you have to be ready for them. And I know right now, as beautiful and awesome as it sounds, I'm not ready for the 100 milers. I got a long way to go, so it's going to be a couple years of training and trying to get ready. Maybe after this year I'll feel more comfortable of even thinking about it and being ready for it and knowing what to do. And like I said, that's going to also start with knowing the fuel to put in my body and just my pacing and my training in general. One thing that's going to be hard this year is the fact that I am doing 365 days out of the year, and I'm going to be running these, so even building up to the race, I'm going to have to run. And the thing that's really, I'm really thinking about is, that next day after I ran that marathon, I was pretty beat. I didn't feel like moving at all. So after I run this 30K that is also a trail, with elevation and stuff, I don't know how I'm really going to feel that next day, if I'm going to really want to get up and even run 1.5, for the next few days after that. But, I'm going to have to try to stick it out and get it done. That being said, I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. You guys know every episode I leave you guys with a daily discipline, and it's kind of based off the theme for today. And you guys might think, holy shit, is he going to ask me to run a marathon? You're damn well right I'm going to ask you to run a marathon. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to ask you to run a marathon. I'm going to ask you, for your daily discipline to run your marathon. Figure out what it is that you need to be training for every day. That's, like I told you, this marathon beat me down. There was so many times in this marathon when I told myself I should just give up, I should just quit, but I didn't let it. So, you need to know that it's going to beat you down. It's going to make you want to give up, but your mind is not going to let your body stop. You're going to give it your all. So for your daily discipline, it's to treat every day as a marathon. Just keep grinding, run your marathon. Your life is a marathon. It's going to beat you down. It's going to make you want to quit. You're going to want to give up, but know that you can see the end of the race right there, and you're going to beat it. You're not going to let it beat you. Get that marathon in, whatever it is. If it is a real marathon, congratulations. Let's do it. Let's get this done. If it's not a marathon, if it's just a metaphor for something else in your life, then that's still great. Let's get this done. Your daily discipline is to run your marathon. I want to thank you guys for listening. This journey has been awesome. It's been interesting. It's been fun. It's been hard. It's been stressful. Other than that, like I said, it's been great. I've gotten likes and comments on some videos, and your feedback is awesome, guys. I really appreciate it. Please keep it coming. Like I said, if you guys can donate to the fundraiser I got going, I might try to do fundraisers maybe every month for different causes, see if we can raise some money for some people throughout the year. I do plan on having some guests on. I have a couple lined up, but I want to get a few people lined up that I know for sure is going to be some good episodes, and I want to get kind of a plan down for how I'm going to do these interviews with them. But thank you for listening. If you can, please share this. Please give our Instagram, our Facebook a like, our YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Send us some comments. Let us know. I want to get some. I do plan on getting on Facebook and organizing some weekly runs for anyone that wants to try to start working out and start running. Maybe we can have like a weekly meetup group. It's just somewhere nice and easy. Nothing, we can do different different distances throughout the week and stuff like that. We'll figure it out. But like I said, if you can, just please share, like, subscribe. You can find these podcasts on any of the podcast platforms. If you don't go on YouTube and see the video, you can listen to the audio version. So thank you guys. Like I said, treat every day as a marathon. Run your marathon. Keep grinding. Stay disciplined. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.